Hi guys, just give me 1 second. I am just sharing this video into my group. I will be right back. So today we're going to talk about something super cool. Actually, it's not that cool. It is very discouraging and disappointing, and I know a lot of us coaches struggle with it, which is like people not showing up to our discovery calls. So get ready, I'm sharing this into my group and we're about to start. Perfect. Okay, hello everyone, I'm excited to be here today. If you are like sick and tired of people not showing up to do your discovery calls, you are in the right place. This is only going to take a couple minutes, but watch until the very end because I have a lot of cool stuff to tell you, right? So, discovery calls, love them, hate them, whatever it is, they're a big part of growing a coaching business, especially if we're in the online world. We don't really get to do like personal networking or like personal connections, so we have to connect with our potential buyers some way, right? And this is why discovery calls are so effective. And also, they're like a super free way to get clients. They don't really cost a lot of money if you know how to do your marketing. However, it can be very frustrating because a lot of times we'll be super excited. We're going to have a discovery call. It's a potential client. It's going to grow our business. And then we sit there and we wait, or we like hop on Zoom and we wait for a couple minutes and no one shows up. We call them and no one's answering. We call them again, no one's answering. And then we're left super overwhelmed and stressed and discouraged. And we start beating ourselves up and we think that our business is going to fail. And it's just such a like bad thing to move through. So I just want to let you know this happens to every coach. We can't really control what the other person does, right? Like we can't really control whether the other person is going to show up or not. There are many things we can put in place to make sure that we like are doing everything in our power so this discovery call show up, which I'm going to make another video about that next week. But there's really nothing we can do of whether they show up or not. So if you've struggled with this before and you really don't know how to handle the no-shows, and it's something that makes you feel really bad, I'm going to give you a couple steps that you can do next time this happens so you can still see results in your business whether people are showing up to your discovery calls or not, okay? So, okay, I got my handy notes right here. So the first thing we want to do if we have a discovery call schedule and they're not showing up is we don't want to spiral the situation, right? So like there's nothing we can do about it, okay? We can't control, like I said before, we can't control whether that person is going to show up or not. So we can't go into like the it's over mentality. Like my business, it's over because these people are not showing up and all that good stuff, right? Like that's the first thing we need to not do is not spiral the situation out of control. Second thing we want to do is if it's a video conference, you definitely want to wait because we're all busy. Life comes up. Some people have kids. There may be traffic, or if they're in another country, like they may not be able to communicate with you if you're late. So like you definitely want to wait. And like my personal story with this is like I actually waited 45 minutes for a call. Now I don't do this every time, but this one time I'm like, I felt like this intuitive nudge to like wait 45 minutes for this person. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to leave the video conference on and I'm going to keep working. And then 45 minutes later, this person showed up and she ended up signing up with me as a client, right? So obviously, we don't have to wait 45 minutes every single time. That's a little bit unrealistic because we have things to do. But give them at least 10 to 15 minutes because a lot of times they will show up late. If you're doing a phone call, you want to wait 10 minutes after your first call and then you want to call them again, right? Sometimes our calls are not going through. Sometimes people don't answer random numbers. So maybe giving them 2 calls will like remind them that they set an appointment. Sometimes they'll text you back and let you know that they're at a doctor's office or something like that, right? So like that's the next thing you want to do if you're doing a phone call for the discovery call. Step number 3. Actually, step number 4. If they still don't show up, they don't show up in your video conference, they don't show up in the phone, okay? Next thing you want to do is make sure you send a follow-up email. It's so simple, but you'd be surprised how many people reply and say, I am so sorry this came up, I would love to reschedule. So if you're booking discovery calls and they're not showing up and you're just kind of being like, okay, whatever, it's over, you're actually leaving a lot of like potential money or potential clients on the table because you're not following this stuff. So send them a follow-up email, and this could be as simple as, hey, Christina, I just wanted to check in and make sure that everything's okay. We had a discovery call scheduled today at 6:30 p.m. your time. So if you'd like to reschedule, let me know. Here's the link to do that, right? Like, it's super simple. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Warmly, Barbara, whatever, right? Like, this simple email can make that discovery call a success, even if it didn't happen, okay? So you send the follow-up email. The fifth thing you want to do, if, like, after you do this, is like, you may or may not hear back from that email. Some people will reschedule, some people will apologize, and then some people will never respond. Because, again, we can't control how other people handle their schedules or how other people handle their responsibilities or whatever. Like, that's just not under our control. So in this case, what's the most important part in the situation is that you're actually like taking action when this happens, rather than like curl up and whine at the fact that it's happening. Because when we do that, that's when we don't use this as an opportunity to keep growing, whether the person shows up or not. So the most important thing here is to realize like what's in your power and what's not in your power. So it's not in your power to walk the person to the phone so they answer the call, and it's not in your power for the person to like book it in their calendar and set an alarm. Like, you have no control over that, especially because these are not your clients yet. However, it is in your power to wait. It is in your power to follow up. It is in your power to like control your mind and not spiral out of control, out of like whack, you know? So those are the things you can control, and that's the most important part, to realize like what you need to be doing and what you need to not be stressing about, because there's nothing to do. So step number 6 is, afterwards, repeat to yourself a million, trizillion, quadrillion, like however many times you need to, if not this, something better, okay? Well, a lot of times what happens and why these experiences are so discouraging, it's because we keep telling ourselves like, my business is gonna fail. This discovery call was supposed to be my next client, or like, why does this always happen to me? Things never work out for me. Like, when we go into like that type of mental thoughts, that makes us hate discovery calls, and it makes us hate when people don't show up for our discovery calls. So repeat to yourself, if not this, something better. If not this, something better. Like, that's the mindset that we always need to have in business, because there's so much uncertainty. Like, there's so many things that are out of our control. So we always need to walk in faith that everything that's happening is happening for us, not to us, right? Like, maybe that client that didn't show up was going to be a horrible client, and they were going to drain you and you were going to hate it, you know? So you always have to like walk in faith that if not this, something better. And then step number 7, and the final step, is that you take action in your business instead. So we already kind of talked a little bit about that, like what actions you can take from the discovery call. But then if they don't show up, you have 45 minutes to an hour in your schedule. So how can you fill in that time with tasks that will help you grow your business, instead of time that you're going to spend thinking about how this person didn't show up, right? So for example, I've been wanting to do a video on a blog post on what to do when someone doesn't show up for your discovery calls. So what happened today? When someone didn't show up for my discovery call, I wrote my blog post, and then later on the day, I did my video. So that's getting me visibility, that's connecting me with my audience, that's teaching you guys something, that's putting me out there, that's giving me content for my newsletter, and that's potentially leading me towards my next sale or my next discovery call, compared to me being like, okay, I have 45 minutes to just whine and feel bad about the fact that someone didn't show up. Now, all this is better said than done. I mean, easier said than done, because I mean, it does affect us emotionally, especially if we're women. Like, we really do get attached to it. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Like, if I compare myself to how I handle no-shows and discovery calls today versus when I first started out, it's so much different, right? Like, I use this as an opportunity to grow. I really do have the mindset that, like, if it didn't work out, it's because it wasn't meant for me, and then something better always comes. And I use it as an opportunity to propel my business forward. So like I said, like, I'll either write a blog post, or I'll set up an ad, or I'll check in on my clients. Like, I'll put in the work that I was supposed to be doing in the discovery call somewhere else. So I am not left feeling like I have no control over my success. So if you follow these steps every single time, I promise you, like, guarantee that it's going to feel so much better when someone doesn't show up. And simultaneously, not only will you feel better, but you will also be growing your business a lot more than what you would be doing if you don't follow the steps. So if you like this video, definitely like my page or check out starlandcoaching.com so we can connect more, and stay in touch for all the other videos that I'm going to be doing every single week. Like I said, next week I'm going to be talking about how to guarantee, or like almost guarantee, that people will show up for your discovery calls. So stay in touch. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And remember, if not this, something better. Everything is always working out in your favor. Bye. Have a beautiful weekend.